Hello and welcome to GogoTraining. This is the Certified Hardware Asset Management Professional course, or in our terms, CHAMP. My name is Lynn Weiss and I'm from IAITAM and I'll be your instructor today. The course description. We're going to address a lot of issues in this course, primarily surrounding the issues within your organization. We're going to address managing the hardware assets themselves, what it means from beyond cradle to grave, more like dating to haunting, as to what hardware asset management is to the organization. We're going to discuss best practices in business management of those IT assets. We're going to emphasize policies and the point in which policy management becomes integral to the operation itself when it comes to hardware asset management. And then we're going to discuss what happens when you're done with these processes and these IT assets. What are you going to do? What happens at end of life? As a result of taking this course, there's some things you're going to learn, obviously. First being that you're going to have an understanding of how to successfully apply an IT asset management program, build your best practices, and maintain your hardware assets throughout their life cycle and beyond. You're going to identify the practices leading to sustainable programs, meaning that you'll be able to sustain them today and on into the future when you have new assets coming into the organization, new asset types. How do you handle those? Also determine and execute what are your next steps in dealing with new hardware assets such as mobile phones, smartphones, etc. Also, what does success look like for the organization? Is it a matter of dealing with your corporate culture? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Do they have to do with basic business drivers such as financial, risk, possibly when it comes to disposal? All of those things are going to be determined and discussed within this course. Hopefully, you'll take back many lessons. So, there are no prerequisites to this course. What we hope basically is that you have a base understanding of what's going on in your environment now as to hardware asset management. And that's all you need for this course. All right, now I need to remind everybody of the registered trademarks and copyrights. Obviously, IAITAM, the International Association of IT Asset Managers, my company, is a registered trademark, as well as this course, the Certified Hardware Asset Management Professional, or CHAMP, is exclusively registered through the IAITAM organization. All right, now we're going to move on into the course materials. So these topics are the ones we're going to discuss in this course. The first being we're going to talk about the profession itself. I'm going to give you an introduction to what is IT asset management. Hopefully many of you are working in this field, so you already have a good understanding of what it is, but I'm going to give you the breakdown of what it all entails. It might be a lot more than what you think it is. We're also going to talk about advocating for your asset management program. How do you get buy-in to the program? It can be very difficult if you don't have senior executives on your side. We're going to talk about how you set the program up. What do you do first? What do you do second? What's your long-term goals? We're going to talk about the importance of asset standards because that is extremely important in the hardware world. Not saying it's not important in software, but in hardware it can really make your life easier. Then we're going to talk about implementing the program itself and what's needed, what kind of tools you need. So we're going to go straight into using automation as well, which means software and hardware to help aid you in this program. Then we're going to talk about how the assets get in the organization in the first place. I'm sure many of you will probably roll your eyes when I talk about it. Things such as corporate credit cards, the issues surrounding corporate credit cards, as well as people just going out and buying something and saying, hey, hook me up. Well, that has to stop. It's all about control. So we're going to talk about controlling that acquisition process. We're going to talk about negotiations. That's basically your next step. We're also going to talk about hardware contracts themselves. What should be and should not be within your hardware contracts. We're going to talk about the importance of managing your vendors because when you think about it, this is a little bit different than managing your desk vendor, the vendor that you go out and buy all your desks from. You deal with them, it's a one-time shot, they're done. With hardware or with software, regardless, you're forming a long-lasting relationship with these people, something that will go on for years to come. So you want to have that win-win relationship. So we're going to talk about how to deal with your vendors. We're going to talk about managing the assets during the use, like while they're in inventory, how you manage that inventory, how do you make better decisions going forward with the inventory, data storage and inventory management, as well as what about reuse and what happens at the end of life. That's a big topic, environmental issues there. You've got to be aware of end of life. So some of the materials that you need to download. First is the CHAMP course manual itself, and you'll find that under the course materials tab, as well as the student guide that'll help you along as far as your studying is concerned. And then of course the exercise guides. And then of course we do have online quizzes in the video tab, which I'm sure everyone will be very happy about. All right, so let's get started.